happy full moon. We are in the really auspicious situation of having the moon be completely full, reaching its peak, 100% full in about 15 minutes now after my little sound issue. So we're going to be perfectly in sync with the moon this evening, which is really special. It doesn't happen that well for us a lot of the time during the summer months in the UK. So and as you can see, though I have got a little light on, it's light. It's spring. It's British summertime, in fact, though I think we're jumping ahead a little bit for that right now. But yeah, it's a beautiful season. It feels like the energy has really lifted. I know lots of you I saw last weekend for spring equinox, and it really felt like the vibration just shifted gear and changed quite a lot. So this is the first full moon of the cycle, the first full moon of the astrological year, and it's a really beautiful one, a really exciting one to be working with. And there's some huge astrology going on today and tomorrow that really amplifies this lunar energy. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we get into the session. So I think most of you have done sessions with me before online. Obviously we're not coming to you through Zoom, we are through various other bits of sound software. So although you guys can see me, I can't see you. We've tried it on Zoom, this sounds funny, and also I think most people like to be pretty cozied up by the end. So hopefully you guys don't mind it too much if it's your first time online with me. I think Kirsty, maybe, I'm not sure who else. Welcome, extra special welcome. And yes, I'm sorry I can't see you, but I can see the chat. I know most of you are on there tonight, so do drop messages in. Obviously, once I get fully into the flow, I can see it less well. So do make the most of the chat while you have it. What I planned to do first tonight was to come into a heart meditation to get us into the space and to settle into the environment together. So if you would like to find a place of comfort for you, I would suggest maybe seated for this one. We will get deep into the sound in a very journeying way later on. So maybe find yourself a comfortable seat to get started, and we're going to move into the crystal bowls together. I'm just going to keep an eye on the comments. Oh, thank you guys. I'm glad you're all ready to relax. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, guys. All right, let's dive in. So grab yourselves a comfortable seat, whatever comfort looks and feels like to you. We're going to be in this meditation together for probably about 10 minutes or so. So put yourself in a position that you can comfortably stay in. Allow your eyes to come to a soft close. And begin to notice the texture and quality of your breath. Begin by taking a nice deep inhale in through the nose, out through the mouth in a lovely long sigh. Breathing in. And relaxing out on the exhale, releasing all that debris from the lungs, from the abdomen, from the past. Breathing in. And relaxing out. Perhaps taking the opportunity to bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Take a few nice big circles and then release the shoulder blades down the back, feeling them relax alongside the spine. I'd like you to bring your awareness into your heart center, Anahata chakra. At the center of the breastbone, the element is air. The shape is a six-petaled lotus. And the color is pink or maybe green. And spend a moment connecting here, see what resonates for you. See if any messages, any immediate reflections or insights arise. Continue this lovely, deep, whole breathing breath to settle, your lips to come to a gentle close. Feeling yourself soften into the space, into the sound, into your body, into your mind. Down to the root, to the very base of the spine, to where your seat connects with earth. Feeling an opening, a relaxation, a connection between your body and the ground beneath. Allowing energy from Mother Earth to flow up through the ground, through your body, into this sacred channel that starts at the root and lifts all the way up through the sacral region, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, bringing us up to the crown. And for now, focusing down on the root, feeling your breath draw energy, vibration from the earth up into your body, and your exhale exchanging the energy, sending your energy back down to earth, creating a sacred bond, a serene union between you and nature and all her cycles. And as this breath flows in and out and within, above and below you, breath now expand as it comes in through your root and up into the body. Feel it come all the way up to the heart, into that space of love and harmony and equilibrium. And feeling your heart expand, maybe every inhale you feel a pinky greeny glow in the center of the heart space, and maybe you feel called to place your hand on your heart, or both hands, or one low down near the root and one on the heart. Feeling the energy exchange as breath, life, energy from Mother Earth rise up into your sacred vessel, into your heart. Feel your heart glow. Feel her expand, feel her nourished, and exhale, sending her love back into managed to get some kind of connection to your heart. I actually was literally at the end of that meditation when that cut out. So hopefully you all could feel a beautiful energy connecting from earth up into your heart space. And the idea that I wanted to draw in is really connecting us to these lunar cycles. And I think most of us are women here. I know many of you are yoga teachers, Reiki practitioners. I know many of you journey with cacao, and I have lots and lots of different portals into this work. So I don't need to tell you that the lunar cycles really just reflect a different aspect of our connection and integration with Mother Earth. So the heart space, the reason I focused on that, as I'm sure most of you know, is that Libra is an air sign. It is ruled by the heart. I'm just trying to see what's going on. Aries season. Some people saying it's good. Some people lost me completely. Right, if you can hear me, guys, I'm just going to basically plow on. I'm so sorry if you're watching this back and you've lost me. I'm going to completely derail myself energetically otherwise, and this is probably the time when the chat's not so helpful. So I'm just going to get back on track. I will come to the chat and to questions shortly. Libra season is all about the heart. Libra is an air sign. It is ruled by Venus. So it's very much a sign that's about harmony, equilibrium, the energy of relationships, those relationships and connections that are outward facing, that are inward facing. It's our connections with other people, our connections with ourselves. It's so much about connections across the landscape of our life. So it isn't just your partner or your children or your immediate family. It can be connections in any way. So Libra energy is really all about finding this balance of how you exchange energy. And that was one of the reasons I used some of that terminology in that first meditation. The idea of exchanging energy with or in partnership with something or someone is something that we're really invited to look at under the energy of the Libra moon. However, this Libra moon is falling. It's the first full moon of the season, of the cycle, as I mentioned earlier. This is falling in Aries season, which is kind of the opposite of Libra in every way. They sit across from each other on the zodiac wheel. This is a pattern you see repeating itself over and over, that we have something that's really quite polarized. The polarity of Libra is Aries, which is fire, which is stubborn, which is quite independent and focused and not necessarily selfish or me first. I know we've got some lovely Aries viewers today, so don't take it that way at all, but it's very much a singular energy that's really focused on a path and then getting started on that path. Whereas Libra is so much about kind of reaching out, often to its own detriment. Libra energy doesn't tend to look inwards quite as much as it could. So as with all of our seasons and our moons, the thing we really want to try and do is to work a way to look at how to amplify the elements which are really positive and supportive for us at this time, and then how to find a way to also dial down the ones which maybe are less helpful to our journey and our experiences. So heart and equilibrium, air, the heart chakra, air rules the heart chakra. Air is also very much of the mind. So Libra is represented by the only inanimate object in the whole zodiac, in the scales. And the scales kind of show in a way that almost slight detachment that can come with Libra energy. Like we're so busy focusing forwards. Oh, it's your birthday today, Suzanne. Happy birthday. And it was Kirsty's 2 days ago, wasn't it? Many good Aries energies. So Libra can often be just slightly detached. It's so busy focusing on parity, on bipartisanship, on harmony, on seeking justice and equilibrium, that sometimes it's just not as amazing at actually trying to find its own path. And that's where the Aries energy can really support it. So these two really sit across from each other really, really beautifully. We're also obviously at the beginning of spring equinox, a big energy of the solar plexus, of the kind of the fire center, action, doing, confidence, leadership, new visions, really empowered by this new season. And I know some of you that were with me last week, we talked a lot about the idea that this is a season that's really about manifesting the long game. Sometimes Aries season is very just immediate and kind of just for now, just for this week, just for this cycle. But this year it's really, really got a different vibe, and we're going to come to why. So one of the things that's worth mentioning shamanically and in terms of kind of the other wheel practices, so this applies in the Celtic wheel, the Neo-Pagan wheel, the Wiccan wheel, all of them, is that the elements are really kind of designed to support each other. So we have the fire of the Aries sun combined with the air of the Libra moon, So air can put fire out, but can also fuel fire. We all know that there's a really fine balance. If you blow a candle too hard, it will go out in a puff of smoke. If you don't blow a fire at all, you can't start one. So these two really work in a kind of parallel way, and it's really important that we find the balance between them. So that's a little bit of background for you. The first thing we're going to do is sort out our sacred space. So I know lots of you will have various aspects of ritual tools and bits and pieces in your space that you like to use. For those of you new to these sessions, the first thing we do is really talk about the different tools that you can invite into your space. I'm aware that we're doing this session on the full moon, and in fact it literally is the full moon about 5 minutes ago, so perhaps that's why everything died. I think it might even have died exactly at 7:58, which is pretty cool. So 7:48. So we will basically start by drawing together our collection of items that can really support us in this journey. The full moon energy is kind of valid for a couple of days either side of the moon. The general thinking is that from the fullness, about 48 hours is really where you're in the kind of the power space, and this is the time you don't have to get it spot on like we are tonight. You can really spend your time with these rituals and meditations over the next 48 hours, and often I find that things that come up for me in these sessions, really it takes a day or two for me to really feel them out and to know how I'm going to live them and how I'm going to bring them forward. So a couple of notes for you about things that you may want to be using during this season. I'm like frantically just watching screens a lot now because I'm so nervous of things going off again. So scents. And I know actually I did an Aries box for lovely Kirsty's birthday a couple of days ago, and this box isn't out officially until tomorrow because we normally do them for the new moon, but it's a really interesting one doing Aries. We have this huge fire energy, but we also know that the impact of the Libra moon is so big right now. So the scents that I've put together for this box and for this season in general is a real meeting of this kind of heart energy and fire. So one of the things I'm definitely using a lot of this week is rose, kind of the ultimate energy for Libra, energy of the heart. So rose oils, rose quartz, rose everything, rose petals if you have them dried already, a bit early this season for fresh ones. And rose is a really beautiful oil for kind of opening into that heart center area. It's beautiful to roll onto your pulse points, beautiful to use in a bath, especially mixed with coconut oil or coconut milk. That's really nice. Ritual bathing, of course, over a full moon is really spectacularly wonderful and gorgeous, so we want to make the most of that. The way I like to use rose oil most is in this mist, which I know lots of you have seen and got, which is a high vibes mist. It's rose paired with frankincense, which is that real Aries energy, real heat, real power. Frankincense is a very heady scent. It's woody, so it kind of goes from the root but really elevates us up. It's something I really just can't get enough of, and it's got a real heat and fire to it, so it's something I've used a lot with Aries energy. So lovely Kirsty, you're wearing yours now, amazing. Yes, the same. I've got my Aries candle right here, and it's lots of frankincense, lots of heat. Palo Santo is something else I use in it. I'm quite careful with that oil. Some of you may have seen my post on Rock and Ritual a few days ago just on the ethics and sustainability of Palo Santo. It is something to be aware of, but it is an amazing fit for these two. So this is a really great scent. That in mind, I'm getting some incense on the go. Incenses, again, frankincense or rose is amazing, or a mixture of two. The one I'm using today is actually neither of those. It's called Ostara, especially for spring. It's magnolia and sandalwood. So it's kind of another example of how we can achieve this balance between a heart-centered floral, a Libra softness. And Libra kind of needs the softness because of that slight detachment. And then the Aries heat and fire and wood burning. So I'm really enjoying my Ostara incense very much at the moment. I really recommend it. Other things we might want to use, and this is my oils I'm wafting around that I know Kirsty's got on, is introducing some citrus. So citrus is really amazing for manifesting. It's a really energizing oil for fire season, so great for this Aries sun. But it's not so harsh in the way that some of the citrus, like some citruses are. We want to stick to things like lemons and grapefruits. They're really kind of clarifying, and they can really help us cut through the stress and the chaos that can happen when we're really busy with new stuff. As you can see from me today, being busy with new stuff can create a lot of stress. So it's a really beautiful oil to bring in to kind of create clarity and to work with that softening heart rose and that elevating frankincense. So the ones I've put together are frankincense, orange, rose, palo santo if you have it. And that is a really beautiful blend to introduce for the next few days for the next cycle. So the way I work in general is that I put together a crystal grid, an oil, kind of a bath oil or a bath salts or some kind of something I'm going to use in a bath, and I use that solidly for the 2 weeks until the next moon, and then I change it all up and swap a few things out, put a few things in, and just tweak the blend. So it's kind of like a constant assessment of what the lunar energy is doing. So hopefully you guys find that helpful, and we'll like to explore the same. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to suggest and mention is agua de Florida, which some of you may have seen me do a lot before with. It is a traditional Peruvian cologne. Bit deceptive, the label says made in Paris. It's been made in Paris for the last 250 years. And agua de Florida is kind of a mixture of all of these. It's a very strong citrus scent with a little bit of rose and a little bit of woods. It's something that we would use traditionally in shamanic practice for clearing and cleansing. We use it a lot before and after ayahuasca and other plant medicines. I really like to use it after sound, and again, if we are in the sound space together, I know some of you have experienced having me come round at the end with agua de Florida and either spritz it on you or offer it to you to take into your aura and cleanse yourself with. So it's a really beautiful one. If you can get hold of some of this, for sure, I think this is a really great addition to this season. So what else? And the last thing to mention is cacao. So I know, again, lots of you are really into cacao. I know lots of you take cacao journeys and with animal journeys and other journeys with it. So cacao, as I'm sure you know, is a heart-opening plant medicine. So particularly while we're working through Libra season, and we really want to be doing as much as we can to soften that kind of bipartisan edge of Libra and really kind of open up that kind of flower of the heart. Cacao is such a beautiful medicine and such a beautiful way in. So if you don't already have a daily cacao practice, it's something to really embrace during this Libra lunation. You want to work as much as possible with raw and ceremonial cacao. No nasties, no extras in it. If you really find it too bitter, then a bit of agave syrup, honey or chili flakes can really make the world of difference. But again, there's a little tile I put on Rock and Ritual over the weekend with some ritual tips for this season, and a daily cacao practice, even for these 2 weeks, is a really, you will really notice the difference in compassion and feeling a little more open in the heart space. So I'm just going to pause for a moment while I shift around. I've got so little space here because of all the cables. If anyone has any questions about any of that, now's a good time to drop them in because I can lean in and see you. And then we are going to talk a little bit about the astrology of the season. But first of all, I'm going to give you a couple of journal prompts. I do keep smashing. I've got my dangly things on today. Never a good idea with these poor crystal balls. Kirsty, awesome. All right, guys. If anyone has any questions about any of the scents or things I mentioned, do just drop me a message afterwards and I can let you know. And I usually list them in the notes for this video as well when I re-upload it for you. One thing to say, I noticed the video is jumping slightly. That is because in the course of that whole having to restart, I had to switch internet connections. So this is the slightly less good one. Hopefully it's not going to stop totally, but it does mean the video might be just a teeny bit jumpy. So so apologies if that happens for you. Kirsty, the aura spray is called High Vibe. So this is one of the ones I make. I can give you the recipe, but also I can just give you a bottle of it. So see me after. Rose, frankincense, palo santo, and I also finished this with Herkimer diamond, which is a really powerful clear quartz, and it just is a really, really wonderful clearer. I find this to be, I mean, this is certainly the best selling thing I've ever made. It smells amazing, but it has that really beautiful balance of the floral, the wood, and the clarity. It's really beautiful in meditation, really good for manifestation as well, because it just has that little bit of heat in it. So, so I will share that with you. If you have your journal with you as we settle in, now's a really good time just to have a look at some journal prompts. I'm going to give you a couple of lines, see if anything sticks for you, and then we will start to venture into some astrology before we head towards the main gong bath. A few journal prompts. How do you love? How do you love yourself? How do you love others? I'm just going to run through 4 of them and just give me a shout if you want me to repeat. What expansion do you invite into your soul through the heart space? So thinking of the heart as a gateway. What expansion do you invite into your soul through the heart space? Which old traumas of the heart, relationships, abuse, self-abuse, are now ready to be released? And be mindful that can be quite a provocative question, so you don't need to necessarily write down loads. Maybe it's just allowing a thought, an emotion, a response to come into your consciousness. So which old traumas of the heart, such as relationships, abuse or self-abuse, are now ready to be released? And finally, how might this healing translate into service to others? So how might healing of the heart translate into service for others? I'm just going to give you a moment to have a think about any of those points, just to take a moment to pop anything into your journal that's come up for you in this first half hour. And then we're going to move into some astrology. So just taking a couple of moments to complete any journaling or just thinking about the heart space. How do you love? Expansion through the heart, releasing of trauma and transmuting that healing trauma into service. These are all big themes for this moon. And again, these are things I'll be posting across Instagram tomorrow, and I can fill you in afterwards if you need a refresher. So how many people do we have here who are Libra something? Libra sun, Libra moon, or rising, or in some way have an affinity to Libra? Good to know who's here. I know we've got a couple of Aries lovelies, quite a few. Got Kirsty, Julia, Suzanne. So if you know you have a lot of Libra, or if you know that Libra for you is a really important sign for other reasons, then this stuff might be really relevant for you. So Libra is Venus ruled, as I mentioned before. It's a sign of the heart. Yeah, oh yeah, of course, Julia, I remember doing your crystals. And I guess the thing to say is that you don't necessarily have to have a sun, a moon, or a rising. You know, we all have all of the signs. Again, lots of you have heard me say this a lot. We all have all the energy of all the signs. Even if, like me, you've got tons of signs where you have no planets. Like I don't have any, I don't have anything in most signs. All of my energy is in 3 signs, in Libra, Scorpio and Sagittarius. So I've got whole swathes of my chart that have nothing in them, but that doesn't mean there's no energy and there's no activity there. There's the conversation about a negative void. Empty houses have specific meanings. And it's also about how those empty spaces provide aspect relationships. So just because you don't feel like you have a connection to any particular sign of energy doesn't mean it's not there. You might just need to peel back the layers. So for example, I don't have sun or moon Libra or rising, but I have got 4 planets in Libra, stellium. So actually for me, it's one of my more important energies. So if you don't have your chart, I sent a link round earlier, do go and have a look at it. It's really interesting to discover starts to peel back and unfold some of your personal astrology or natal astrology. And you might find that you can begin to unlock the keys to why certain seasons, certain energies feel really comfortable for you, and some feel really floaty and tricky. And then there's Pisces, which is floaty and tricky for almost everybody. So we're happening the other side of that now, into the fire. So Libra is ruled by Venus. It's a cardinal sign, which means it's kind of an initiating sign. It's a leadership sign. It's very much a sign of the mind rather than the body, and it's a sign which is really so concerned with parity that it often kind of steps away from compassion and feeling. It's a soft and beautiful energy. People know that Libra is about love and harmony, but actually Libran energy itself can be quite enclosed, and we really need to do some work to peel back kind of the petals and let the flower be seen and felt. So who's got 3? Ola, yeah, so you and I both have that stellium, and it's a really interesting thing. That's one of the reasons actually I go really big on rose and really big on rose quartz for Libra, because it actually doesn't have an awful lot of that energy ready to share. It can be, Libra also rules the 7th house, which is about partnerships. This can be not just marriage, it can be contracts, business contracts, relationships. It can be rivalries as well. So it's anything to do with how you relate outwards. It's a very dependable, safe energy. The reason the scales work, there's lots of lawyers, lots of kind of people in those kind of professions which are very much about objectivity and obsessment, might have Libra energy. And it's very much about this kind of energy of love, but energy of the right thing, energy of compassion. I think compassion is the best word. Outwardly, Libra energy is super compassionate. Inwardly, it can be quite cold. So hence the heat, hence why it sits well with Aries and all of this fire that's going on in the sun right now. So how does this all translate? What else is going on? Libra is, as I mentioned, the only inanimate sign in the zodiac, so it needs a lot of support, and luckily there's some really amazing astrology going on right now. The big thing, which I'm sure lots of you have seen, I know lots of you follow many Instagram accounts and are reposting this stuff, you all know that Venus is super active right now. Venus is the ruler of Libra, ruler of love and harmony, equilibrium. And Venus is currently in conjunction with the Sun. It was a peak conjunction on Thursday. So what this means, you can imagine beautiful bright sun shining her light, or his light, straight into the Venus energy. So it's really a spotlight on relationships of all sorts, of all the different types I mentioned. And it's a really beautiful, harmonious energy. The Sun and Venus are conjunct in Aries. It's the first time that's happened in 8 years with a Venus direct. So it's an invitation to have a little look back, which seems mental, to 2013, 8 years ago, and have a think about some of the themes in your kind of relationships area of your life back in 2013. And this is really kind of the closing of that cycle. So another one of nature's cycles gives us the opportunity to see what's changed, what's moved on, what we've learned in that time. And that's another good point to bring into your journaling. Just checking my sound. I feel like I'm still a bit far away from you guys. Other things that are happening with Venus is that Venus is making a conjunction very late tonight, in fact early hours tomorrow morning, with Chiron. Chiron for me is just the most important celestial body because of my personal chart, but in general I think it's one of the ones that we really tend not to focus on. We get our charts read and he's so fundamental. Chiron, if you don't know, is the wounded healer. He is an asteroid who sometimes gets called a dwarf planet. He's in the landscape between Saturn and Uranus. So Chiron and Venus have this beautiful conjunction and in line with the Sun. So the three of them are all up in it together. They're all in like a little line. They're in a party, shining their energy into each other. So the Sun is illuminating our relationships area of our life. And then Chiron, who asks us to look at old traumas and old wounds that haven't been healed, that are really driving us and informing us. And we all know the ones. We all know that kind of, that bullying at school, the terrible relationship, something terrible that may have happened to us, miscarriages, abortions. We all have these polarizing moments in our history, particularly as women, that really we hark back to even internally, even if we don't share them and verbalize them anymore. So Chiron is where all of this stuff lives. So we've got light into relationships and we've got light into trauma about relationships. So they're making this kind of cluster of light around our heart space. And that's one of the reasons we're really focusing on that today, not just because Libra rules the heart, but because we have these conjunctions with Venus and Chiron. So again, I invited you to have a look at your chart. If you don't know where your Chiron is, it's really instructive to have a look. If you're in your 30s or 40s like me, then it will most likely be in Aries or Taurus. The Chiron cycle is about 33 years, so kind of there's a lot of us will have the same there. So Chiron is currently in Aries, so it's a return for those of you that have it in Aries, and it's just a really informative energy, and it's really an invitation to peel back old traumas, particularly in this relationship landscape. And remembering again, it doesn't have to be relationships with a person, with a husband, with an ex, with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It can be relationships that, you know, are long buried. In fact, with Chiron, it usually is that they're long buried. So do take that energy on board. It's really big and really important, particularly tomorrow. Yeah, mine's in Taurus too, although I think we probably have really similar astrology by the sounds of it. The other thing to mention, and this is the really good bit, I mean, this is all good. This is a really great, all of this is great energy. You know, we want our heart space to be expanding. We want the old traumas to be released and they can serve us better. The theme I should mention actually with Chiron is that all of the traumas that Chiron releases then become what we serve others with. So the wounded healer, usually when your Chiron return comes around, you're able to step into your ability to heal and serve others, which is really beautiful, really exciting. But the final biggie, and this is really exciting, is that we have a grand trine today. So these are pretty rare. This one is where the moon is lining up in trine, which is a harmonious aspect, perfect triangle, with Saturn and Mars. So I think, Ola, you said you've got Mars and Saturn in Libra. So this is a really interesting one for you because you've got Mars, Saturn, Libra, and this is all happening, and the moon, so we're all in Libra right now. This trine is really, really beautiful. It's the moon who's also shining her light, but it's a different kind of light to the sun. She's shining light into our emotional landscapes, into our deep feelings, into our inner world that we don't share so easily. Maybe all of us here, yogis and Reiki masters, find it easier, but in general, this is the part of us that we tend to keep protected and inward facing. The moon in trine with Mars, heat, fire, action, confidence, progress, manifesting, moving things forward. Very Aries, ruler of Aries. And then we've got Saturn, my fave. I've got Saturn and Chiron and Mercury here today. So Saturn is Lord of Karma, regulations, limitations, boundaries, discipline, rules, old code, the teacher. So Mars and Saturn, kind of about as opposite as you can get in the zodiac. You know, Saturn wants to pull back, wants you to learn hard lessons, do the tough stuff. Mars wants to just barrel through all of it. The two of them are open, their relationship is harmonious. So rather than knocking heads, they're able to have a clear conversation, and that conversation is being lit by the moon, all about your emotions. So this is really a beautiful, beautiful day for bringing all of that confidence, motivating, manifesting energy forward, feeling like all the boundaries soften around it, and at the same time those boundaries are creating kind of protection for this fiery forward energy that could blow out of control. And all of that's being given this supercharged full moon, almost supermoon, heart-centered Libra vibe. I mean, that is beautiful, right? It's a really beautiful trine. Grand trines are it's just so special. Actually looking at the astrology of the year, and I spent some time this week on the aspectarian looking forward, this probably is actually the best manifesting day of the whole year. So if you have got some real big long-term dreams that you're looking to breathe some Libra life and heart energy into, then really today is the day. And I really encourage you to spend some time today and tomorrow committing those to your journal, spend some time in ceremony, plant those intentions, burn them, send them back to nature and the cosmos, something that really gives you a connection to them. The thing that Saturn gives this trine is that Saturn is like the long game. He doesn't do things quickly. He does things long, slow and tough. Mars does them really fast and a bit fearlessly, and not with a lot of looking forward. So actually the manifesting right now is for long-term stuff. It's not about what you want to do next week. It's not about this summer. It's about planting seeds that have real longevity. So for me, I mean, I was writing stuff with a 4 or 5 year lead time. A busy night, yeah, absolutely, Ola, right? I've basically spent most of today troubleshooting, lols, the technology, and then I went for a quick swim, and you might have caught my Instagram stories just before I started this session. I took down a little singing bowl and burnt all of my Chiron trauma stuff, sending it back, and I've got another one to go and do afterwards to bring in this manifesting energy. But it really is superpowers energy, and it's the long-term stuff. So this is really big if you're looking at long-term business goals, you know, long-term where you live goals, which however you want to look at it. And Libra and Venus are really all about, you know, that relationship side. So it's also a really good energy to manifest into relationships, into partnerships of any sort. And remember, they can also be with yourself. If you're having a tough time with yourself, with your own energy, then this is just the perfect time to really start putting some energy behind that and to really clear the decks a little bit. How to apply this to yourself? Check which house Libra is for you. I know Ola said it's the 4th. Houses is really the kind of the where this is happening in our life. The planets and the signs give us the how, and then the houses give you the where. So if you have a look at your house where Libra is, this will give you like another dimension, another angle. So for example, if your Venus is in Leo in your 10th house, then this kind of hearty energy, this kind of big heart-centered, relationship-focused jazz that's going on, coming through Leo, which is confident, outward-facing, social, buzzy, in your 10th house, which is careers and goals and ambitions, points to long-term goals in confidence in your career. So you can kind of join the dots. And again, if you guys have questions, give me a shout afterwards and I can fill you in if you need. So has anyone got any immediate questions on that? Because I'm just going to quickly show you a few crystals for this season, then we're going to dive into the sound. So with all of my stop-starting with the tech, I've run as slightly late as ever. I'm just going to pause because I've got a little time delay. And I'm also going to have the fullest cacao in the world. I made this in such a rush just before we started. I know lots of you have had cacao today, but again, cacao is always a great thing to bring into a sound journey. Flower teas are going to be really good as well for this season. So rose teas, raspberry leaf teas, anything around the heart center. If you are less keen on all of that stuff, then mugwort tea is always amazing for sound. It really is just that extra little kind of boost into the third eye area. Put that down. So, last little bit before we dive into the sound. I am keeping an eye on the feed here, so just give me a shout if you have questions. Crystals. I know you all love crystals. I can go for hours on this, so I need to remind myself not to. Crystals are just like sound. They are vibration. They're just a much more subtle vibration. They are a beautiful way to connect with earth energy. Crystals really allow us to work intuitively. So the way I like to work with them, I think I mentioned before, is like to really think about what we want to amplify, what we want to dial down, where we've got kind of gaps in our chart or in our life that we need to plug, that we need to invite some energy into. And crystals offer us a really beautiful, surprisingly simple way of doing that. And I like to think in a way of making a grid where we can grid ourselves, our lives, our current situation, the current moon, grid for whatever you want, look at where the gaps are, plug them up and work out what you need. And the journey of doing that is really supportive. It really helps you to see where something might be missing, or maybe where you need to revisit certain aspects of your particular journey right now. So big crystals for Libra season. Rose quartz. This is always the bit where I feel like I'm on QVC and I still bowls, which is not a good thing. I'll try to get this out of my hair. Right, rose quartz is the, this is a generator point. So I'm not going to do a grid here because I literally don't have any room, but I will show, take a photo of my grid and put it over social tomorrow so you can see. This will be what's at the center. Rose quartz is the ultimate healing stone, the ultimate harmony stone, encompassing all these energies that I've been talking about all evening so far. Rose quartz is so supportive because of that Libra energy, which is really heart centered, but just a little bit detached. It really teaches us to get in touch with our heart center, and it's a really beautiful one to hold over your heart in meditation. If you can find a rose quartz palm. So rose quartz you really can't get enough of during this time. Other heart center crystals that you may want to consider. Green quartz. So this is a really beautiful earthy variation of quartz, not so much used, and actually it's really amazing for the heart center. You will have heard people talk a lot about the heart center being pink or green. The theory is that it starts off green, and then as you reach higher into the heart and you become more expansive in this area, then it becomes pink. So green quartz is a really great way to kind of start that journey. It's one I've been using a lot, and it's really great for spring especially. Rhodochrosite is another really beautiful one, which is amazing healing energy. It's a lot softer in lots of ways than rose quartz, and it's a very female energy. It's sort of almost quite sacral. It's a really good stone to work with if you're healing trauma that's in some way to do with your sexual organs, it's to do with assault, that's to do with trauma in the womb space. So rhodochrosite is a particularly good one. Manganocalcite is another really lovely one. It's compassionate. It's a very soft variation on rose quartz. And amazonite, I'm not even sure if it's worth me even showing you things anymore. Amazonite, which is this really beautiful kind of gentle turquoisey, tealy, greeny perfection. I absolutely adore. Amazonite is super protective. It's a really great one to have around your laptop, to have around anything that emits rays which in some way or frequencies which may be harmful to your heart space. So I have a piece of this on my desk, and believe me, I'm going to glue a lot of it to my laptop after this. It's also really supportive in terms of opening the heart, promoting feeling. So that slightly detached, closed energy that I've referred to a little, amazonite's the great tool for that one. I'm going to just hope in some way that you can see me and show you my lovely little bowl, my selenite bowl with all my bits and pieces in it. Other crystals that you might want to work with, ametrine, which is what it says on the tin, a mixture of amethyst and citrine. I'm trying to show you in the light. He's got a little bit of a gold edge to him. So this is one that really is working into that negative space. So where Libra, the mind's very busy, but not necessarily focused on the third eye and on ascension. So amethyst is really supportive of accessing the intuition. And then citrine is that amazing solar plexus stone, harnessing the energy of the sun. So particularly at this time, as we have that Libra moon and the Aries sun, we really want to be working with a little bit of sun energy. And citrine is the stone to work with for abundance. It's amazing to work with for business, for inviting in a shift out of scarcity mentality and mindset. So that's one that I'm personally using a lot, particularly when it comes to technology. And ametrine, for that reason, is a beautiful hybrid stone to use. Really great for Libra. Also in kind of the sun area, sunstone, amazing for manifesting. It's like a much softer version of carnelian. There is a lot of carnelian fire energy about right now, but it's almost a bit too hot for Libra. So sunstone is a lovely alternative. In the heart space, emerald, which is a really big stone for Taurus. So this is where, as I mentioned before, we have this kind of opportunity to cycle through our grids and our ritual spaces. So some things we use for this season will go and some will stay and then become really key for the next season. Emerald is one of those I would really suggest you bring in now. Work with the Libra full moon with emerald, which is the stone of successful love. And then keep it on your grid and keep it on your altar. It's going to be really important for Taurus season when we really step into that heart awareness in quite a different way. And the last one I'm using a lot of at the moment, or two actually, is lemon jade, or butter jade it's sometimes called. It's this kind of olivey green shade. And it's such a beautiful stone. It's really, really elegant and clear. And it reminds me always of China. I mean, it's really, jade is so important in Chinese culture. But it's a stone that's really to do with health and cleansing. So this one for me feels really important because I feel like we're in a heart cleansing season. We're using this Chiron energy, this cleansing of trauma, releasing of trauma. And lemon jade, butter jade, I think is really supportive of that. It's also a good spring stone. It's great for kind of spring cleaning energies, for the energies of kind of clearing the decks and getting ready to invite the new cycle forth. So yes, Kirsty, I love citrine too. I hope you like yours in your little bundle. It's so supportive. It's I've got a big chunk of it right here, which is my enormous chunk that I'm working with a lot, with abundance for spring equinox energy. And it's a really beautiful partner for carnelian. Carnelian has that kind of almost aggressive fire energy around it, and citrine really channels that into your own sun area. Okay. All right, guys, that's all your crystals. I would grid these for anyone that wants to know on a Metatron's cube, which is this guy, who holds the energy of all of the platonic solids, all of them are in there. I have these on laser cut, on charcoal, on slate, and on cloth if anyone wants them. And this grid is a really protective energy. Metatron's cube is basically drawing in all of the energy of all the different shapes, all the different sacred geometry aspects, and creating a grid where whichever one you need, you can tap into it. It's traditionally used at full moons, whereas the flower or the seed are used more for new. So this one really is about creating really quite a symmetrical grid, a vortex, and bringing the energy to the centre. So I would grid with a rose quartz at the centre, and all those little stones I showed you will be around the edge, working into a kind of a central anchored point. So I will photograph that tomorrow in the light and share it all with you. Guys, we're going to dive into the sound because I am 10 minutes late because of all of the chaos. So I don't want to deprive you of your full sound bath. If you have any questions related to any of the ritual stuff, please jump in, ask me in the chat now while it's fresh, or scribble them down or voice note them somewhere, so you can come back to me later if you need. I do follow a lot of this up on Instagram tomorrow. As I said, I sort of tend to, out of these sessions, put things across stories for a few days, so do check those out. We are going to be in the sound together for just under an hour tonight. Do get yourself cozy. Now's the time to lie down. Socks on, blankets, eye pillows, whatever you need to be really, really relaxed. I'm assuming you all have headphones on already, but if you don't, please do put them on now because it makes a really big difference. As I said, despite the technical chaos, believe it or not, I do have a lot of technical stuff in the room and skills in my head that maybe are not showing themselves, but there's a lot of effort being made to stream this in stereo for you so you can really appreciate it as if you're in the room. So please do pop those on, and I'm going to just move a couple of bits out of the way, and then we will be diving into the sound space together. So while I'm moving it, I would invite you to have a think about the themes we've talked about, think about which areas of life they may apply to for you. Heart space energy, what it means to you, what you're going to be inviting in and working on over this Libra lunation, what you're going to be seeking to amplify and expand, and what you're going to be dialing down, what there might be too much of. Having a look at your chart so you can see how Libra energy is showing up for you and which areas of your life, which house it's in. Beginning now to gently find your way into your space, into your body, into your supraconscious mind. So I would normally have drawn a tarot or oracle card, or near you may want to draw one. The card for Libra is Justice, represented by the polarity, yin and yang. Without the dark there's no light, without the light there's no dark. More themes to draw into your sound experience this evening. And as you soften into the earth, into that which supports and holds you, I invite you to take your awareness down to the very base of the spine, to that root chakra, to the opening we visited at the top of the session where you connect with Mother Earth. And here we find the root chakra, the connection with Earth, the earth element. The colour is red, the shape is a square, and here we deal with ancestry, with family, with roots. Up to the sacral chakra in the womb space, or just behind it, a little lower for men. The colour is orange, the shape is a crescent moon with the points downwards. The element here is water, and here we deal with emotions, with feelings. And the landscape of our soul. Weathered some storms in recent months. Maybe a little Libra and heart compassion is just what it needs. Bringing your awareness up to the solar plexus, above and behind the navel. The colour is gold or yellow, the shape a sun, a circle that's your personal sun. And here we find your manifesting energy, your power, your confidence, your action. That part of you that Aries energy speaks to, that this new season of spring, of doing, of progress, of envisioning is all speaking to. Access this mega manifesting power of the moon, trine, Mars and Saturn. The solar plexus is the area to call in your own power, your own visions, and breathe life into them. Now to Anahata, the heart chakra, pink or green or greeny pink, the seat of your air element, your love, your compassion, your harmony, your serenity and your hopes for equilibrium and balance, your yin and your yang. Drawing together the thoughts, the energies that have coalesced in your heart through our session so far. Seeing what speaks to you as we journey through this powerful conjunction of Venus, Chiron and the Sun. What's ready to be healed, what's ready to rise to the surface. Bathed in love and released. We move up to the throat chakra of Vishuddha. Communication, a theme on the horizon is coming for us. Mercury moves into Aries next week, and all the things we manifest today will begin to take root. Speak your truth. Are you speaking with your authentic voice? If not, why not? And how can you change that? Bringing your awareness now into the third eye, space between the eyebrows, the seat of our the portal to our higher consciousness. The colour here is purple. The shape a triangle with an eye blinking open. The doorway to that which lies beyond the physical, the tangible senses, to that which we feel and we tune into only when we leave our bodies. And I invite you to leave them now, to float out of your body, to see yourself in space. The light from your crown chakra enveloping the whole body as you float in light, in dark, stars, in your journey, wherever it takes you today. as you float, you can trace a line from the tip of your spine all the way through to the crown of your head. And that line is like a thread, glowing, iridescent, luminous light. And as that thread journeys through your heart, you feel that glowing pink and green and gold warmth. And you feel your heart beating. Heart of your soul, heart of your body, heart of your being. And your heart vibrates with love and compassion, the energies of this Libra moon. And you see that beautiful pinky, greeny, goldy light radiating out from your heart. Glowing, strong and soulful. Self floating in space, you now begin your body, your physical landscape, the natural weight of your being, and you feel your fingers and your toes. And some small movements into the head, the neck. Feel the breath on your lips and your nose. You begin to arrive back into your body. into your body in full. Feeling your fingers and your toes. Feeling your breath. Feeling any messages, any insights, any thoughts, ideas, anything that's found its way into your consciousness, that's revealed itself in the depths of the sound, knowing always that it can be a little discombobulating coming back. And any messages, any insights that you're seeing or feeling or sensing, maybe they're not quite taking form yet, may well come to form over the coming days and weeks and even months. Sound has the power to journey through us for a really, really long amount of time. So taking your time to come back to wherever you are. Just a couple of moments over, so I'm going to wrap this up nice and quick for you. So some people find that they feel really like they've journeyed really far, like visions, voices, faces, insights, quite intangible, often psychedelic experiences. They're not abnormal, and if that's your truth right now, then feel free to stay really calm and still where you are. Take plenty of water. Try to slide into bed quite quickly tonight. Hasn't been your experience, don't worry, it's neither good nor bad. Sometimes we're really conscious during the sound. Even by listening to the sound, our brain waves have been affected and slowed down, or we're being dropped into a meditative state. So whether or not it feels like it or you realise it, your brain waves have been slowed into theta. So I want to thank you all for your presence and your patience this evening. I feel like I've had a few really tricky lives in a row with various technical situations, and I really am grateful for those of you who especially keep coming back despite those, and who persevere through the sounds, and I hope really enjoy your session. I can't wait to meet you all again in person. For those of you in Cornwall or with plans to visit, the Sound TP, which is pretty much what it says on the tin, is being pitched next week at my site, Cudvar in North Cornwall. You can have a look on the website to find out about that. And I am just so excited to get out of the spare room and get all of this sound back where it belongs, back in nature and back in a space where we can enjoy it really freely and without constraints in the way that we are supposed to. So I hope some or many or all of you will find your way to Cudvar over the summer. We'll be there resident from the end of April until early October, whenever the weather gives us. I'll be holding lots of group sessions there, regulations permitting, in the engine house, which is a kind of ruinous old Cornish tin mine or slate mine. So it's a really beautiful, fully ventilated space. And I really hope lots of you will be able to come and join and really experience the power of these amazing instruments in person. And meanwhile, if anyone has any questions or any feedback, please not technical tonight, or any thoughts, if you want to find out any more details about any of the ritual tools or oils or crystals or anything else that I mentioned to you, then you know where I am. Feel free to drop me a DM on Instagram or email me. If you'd like to dive more personally into your charts or look at crystals, especially for your configuration, I'm always happy to do a one-to-one, so please give me a shout if you're interested. Thank you guys so much for your patience. It has been a little bit of a trial tonight for me, I'm afraid, which is really disappointing because it is such a magical moon, but I have to say, as soon as I got into the sound, it all melted away, and I hope it did for you too. I'm just going to lean in just a touch. I do normally end these quite promptly, and I'm conscious that I'm late, but I just want to have a chance to catch up with any of you that have any feedback right now. So thank you so much, Dita. Thank you. I can see yeah, rose quartz in the heart center is beautiful. Any meditation, any sound, I do that a lot as well. It's gorgeous. I'm really glad that connected for you. So guys, if you would like to listen back to this or reconnect with it anyway, I'm going to actually do a proper edit. I usually just put the stream straight up, but I'm going to have to tidy this one up, I think. So this will go up at some point tomorrow. I'll drop you an email and let you know when it's there, ready for you to connect with if you need. Have a beautiful Libra full moon. Don't forget your heart energy is open for you this weekend like never before. Your manifesting energy, your power of manifestation under this Mars, Saturn, Moon trine is just so super powerful. So do take some time to set those seeds for long-standing visions, because now is the time. Thank you guys so much, and have a beautiful last few breaths of Sunday. Thank you.